Hi, it's Carrie Ann from Everything Mom, and I'm not here to talk about a product, and I'm not here to talk about a vacation or destination we've been to, though I wish I was. No, I'm actually going to try something different now with the site. You know, the YouTube channel is something that I've been sort of experimenting with for Everything Mom, and to add to that, I'm actually going to try get into the habit. I want to start incorporating a weekly vlog. So unlike the content on the site, which is a little more generic in nature, getting a little more personal about, what's sort of going on, in the Everything Mom household. Things that we're dealing with that maybe you're dealing with. I don't know, it could just be us. Right now, even though we're at the end of September, my head is still in the whole back to school mode, and I even know some people have started in August, but we've been doing some traveling right up to school starting and then traveling after school started. So September, I can't believe it's almost over, has seemed really short to me. So of course my head is around back to school still. And like all new seasons or tasks or time frames that involve kids, everybody's all full of the best advice that they can give you with how to prepare your kids for school and get your kids out the door and eat the healthiest and improve their vocabulary, all these things. The world is full of experts, and I have to be careful because Everything Mom will also share content on the site like that as well, offering some ideas that work for us or that other people have suggested that work. But the one thing that I have to remember and other people have to remember is there is no one solution fits all. And sometimes the information coming across can come across that way. That, for example, when your kids are walking to school, all your kids should start walking to school when they're at a young age, and if you're not letting them walk to school on their own, then you're limiting them as a parent. And my kids do walk to school. The kids are 13, 11, and 8, so they're not really young. But they also, because I work from home, I have the advantage of walking with them, and sometimes they'll choose to walk with me, or I like the times when I pick them up after school and we walk home and talk about what's happening at the school time. And so it can be a little frustrating sometimes, and you have to sort of step back and remind myself. Just because news reports say or parenting experts say that these are things that you should do, I think it's great to keep your mind open to ideas that maybe you hadn't considered or tried if something isn't working for you. And I do agree that it is good to give your kids freedom to do new things, to slowly open up to new responsibilities and tasks, instead of just all of a sudden they're in high school and then it's sort of like, okay, you're on your own, or even college, and you're on your own and you have to get to A and B by yourself, and you have to figure out transit, and you have to do this. And so I think it's good. I was reading an article that said sometimes we take for granted that our kids aren't able to do things, that we take on that role as the parent to do all these things for our kids, and we don't give them a chance or the credit that they can do it. And I know I find myself often, I know I have to give my kids opportunities to cook, to understand how to cook for themselves and prepare lunches and participate in making dinner and meal plans and even cooking with me. And yes, I'll be honest, it means tying my hands behind my back so I don't jump in when they stir something too much that it falls out of the bowl, or they crack an egg and eggshells get in the bowl. Like, these are things that are all part of learning. And I think sometimes as a parent we forget the tasks that we can do now as a parent are things that we had to learn, and I think a lot of times we forget the stages that it took to get there, and we put that assumption onto the kids that, you know, tying your shoe, it's not that hard, or breaking an egg, it's not that difficult. And yes, it can be frustrating when you're trying to get something done quickly, and it can be difficult when you're trying to get out the door in a time frame. So maybe not give them that flexibility when you're pressed for time. But again, I'm rambling, but it just comes down to, it's great to get as much information and input and ideas from out there and the experts, because there are a lot of great ideas, and there are people who have tried things and have failed, and have tried things and have worked. But also always remember that not everything's going to work for your family based on your circumstances. And I've even discovered that myself with 3 kids. The same thing doesn't work with all 3 kids. If only parenting was that easy. So that's the one thing I was thinking about back to school. The other thing that's been going through my head is back to school to me is also like this, like the new year, with not so much resolutions, but I always find myself, you know, looking at September as starting fresh. And maybe it's because we view that with kids, like it's fresh school supplies and back into a lunch routine and brand new uniforms. So I can't help but apply that to myself, where I kind of go, okay, yes, I'm going to start doing more exercising. I got to drink more water, all these things that are great in intentions, and I really do hope I can keep up with those. But the one thing that's I'm actually trying now, and it's only been a week, so we'll see, is applying a schedule to things. It's funny saying that with a background in project management outside of, you know, the home. So I'm used to having schedules to get tasks done, and, you know, dates that you have to work towards, and how to coordinate one project with another project so that they can meet at the time frame. So I'm going to try and apply that at home when it comes to the site, ensuring that I get, you know, content and the varied content that I want on the site, as well as at home, you know, whether it's meal planning or working on, you know, our French at home, making sure that we're doing, incorporating times to visit the library and outside time, and just, you know, I don't want to get super scheduled. But just for myself, having some sort of guide to go by. So I've done the first week, and first week I'm already off my schedule. So that's the great thing about the weekend, it's a chance to reset, because I didn't schedule anything on the weekends. So I can reset and I can start Monday fresh again. So I'm hoping, I'm just writing it down. I have a desk pad that has each day of the week, and just writing down for home, for the site, for personal stuff, because actually that's the other thing I'm trying to do, is schedule more personal stuff, like some more personal writing and things that are more about me, things that I want to do versus the site, work or family, that sort of thing, because I find that stuff, and maybe it's just me, but that stuff always seems to get to the bottom of the list, which is very easy to be pushed off the list. So I'm hoping if I kind of put it in a schedule, I'll incorporate that a little more. So that's where my head's at for this, I can't say the first week of September, I think it's almost the end of September. And that's kind of, I guess, this first vlog. Don't really know how this vlogging thing's gonna go, but I am hoping, since on the site I don't talk so much about the personal, that, you know, maybe the vlog will give me that opportunity to kind of post out there things that we're going through once a week, and see what happens. And I guess it's until next week, and it's time to reset, and then maybe hopefully I'll have been maintaining my schedule, and I'll add this to the schedule and see what happens next week. Until then, have a great week.